no fears or worries at all right there. Just the smell of salt water that's in the air. And the sunrise. She's walking on water. She's walking on water. Imagine waking up not knowing if today is your last one. Tell me what would you say if you had some? Everybody tell you that you're young but you're dying, which is weird cause you feel so alive. And she has a dream to be queen of the ocean. Mad emotion, showing her devotion. On her surfboard, fully in motion. Hoping for a miracle when the eyes first open. She wakes up and takes up a surfboard. Heads out from the seashore. From the water where she lives. She's got no fears or worries at all right there. Just the smell of salt water that's in the air. And the sunrise. She's walking on water. She's walking on water. Face up, toes in the sand. Surfer girl gave up, trying to understand. Why soon get to living on this die. She's tired of goodbyes cause they make her cry. Looking in the sky, blue as her eyes, watching the rising of the sun. Well, how time flies when you're outside and you're in love and you're having fun. Remember the holiday days when she was laying down on the sand with the fam, and she had a plan, bam, to wake up after daylight. Watch your eyes like the sun on the run from the night. Feels so alive when she wakes up and takes up a surfboard. Heads out from the seashore. From the water where she lives. She's got no fears or worries at all right there. Just the smell of salt water that's in the air. And the sunrise. From the water where she lives. From the water where she lives. From the water where she lives.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday night. Wes Seiler here from Preserve Navarre Live, joined by my good friend, Mr. Joe Cooper. How are you, buddy?
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to the show. So let me know once you start seeing this. This is a live show, so we get to see the comments as they come in. So as soon as you post any comments, let us know that the sound is good. We're going to take off and run with this. This is going to be fun, man. I'm so excited that you made time to come onto the show, and we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the trash cleanup that you got planned. Yeah. We're going to talk about the Facebook group that you run.
Oh, yeah.
Your background, how you came here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looks like there we go. We got 4 or 5 people jumping in. Awesome. There's Mark. There's Nancy. Great. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Mark. Let me bring up some of these comments on here. I just wanted to say thank you, man. It was good to see you the other day. Mark does an awesome job of helping us promote the channel, subscribing to it, letting people know about this. We do this every Thursday night. It's a ton of fun. It's just a chance to get together and chat. Whatever guest you want on the show, whatever big events that are going around, we're going to talk about it. But let your friends know about this. And then at the same time, if there's sponsors, people that want to get more involved, then we'll do that. Nancy says the sound is good, so that's great. So we're off and running. So Preserve Navarre Live is a lot of fun. It's a great time, as I mentioned, to get together to talk about what's going on in the community. So if there are events, there's big news that you want to talk about, then let us know. We're happy to bring that up. But I always put together a couple different segments, and the fun part is one of the guys leading the news right now is you, Joe. So the stuff that you're doing. So it's perfect having the source of the news right here in the studio. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. So let's start, though, with what happened this past weekend, because our last show, we had the crew of jesters on, and they were talking about the Mardi Gras parade that happened this weekend. And this was the first time they've done this in a couple of years. It got rained out the year before, so they didn't get a chance to do it. And then, of course, COVID made it difficult for a little while. Now it's back up in full swing, and you got a chance to go, right?
Yeah.
I saw your pictures, and I know you were right there in the middle of that. So was this your first time?
It was our first Mardi Gras.
Okay.
And in Navarre.
Yep.
And absolutely was a great turnout. And quite honestly, Got down there a little bit
Yeah.
later than I wanted to get down there.
Yeah.
I was down there early in the morning.
Oh, there's
for
people
other
that come
reasons.
in like days, if not weeks ahead of time. for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it was quite the party, and it was great to see how many people showed up. And then we're going over the bridge, and
Yep.
maybe I'm a little pessimist, but I was like, oh man, we're not gonna find parking. Like the whole left parking lots by the water was all shut off for staging and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And God bless. I mean, we pulled into the parking lot behind Andy's.
Yeah.
And it was like 3-4 spaces. That was it. And we just
And you
backed
got
up.
one.
That was it. Got one right there.
Yeah.
Wife got a coffee. We set up shop right there in front of Andy D's on the beach, and it was an amazing time.
It is, man. It is like
Yeah.
the first, because you know, in the holidays, the thing that you get in Navarre and in Florida is at least it's not freezing cold. That's about it, right?
Yeah,
Like you just
yeah.
you make it through the holidays. Enjoy the climate as best you can. But then you have the Mardi Gras parade every year, and it's like that really is like New Year beginning. That is like the community coming together. It's like the first sign of good things to come, in my opinion. Like it's typically the kickoff of a new year in a lot of ways. And I'm so happy that they got a chance to do this because they're such sweet people. I mean, we had so much fun with them playing songs and stuff, sitting right here, and it's awesome. And they put in months and months of work. So
Yeah,
when they
it was
couldn't
great,
do
man.
this last year, it was so frustrating because they had spent months planning it. They're already
Yes.
planning the one next year. So for them to actually get that payoff was really cool.
And some of the floats out there, I mean,
I know they're
so
amazing.
If you drive around Navarre, you'll see some of these floats in people's yards, you know,
Yeah.
and the work they put into them,
know.
how intricate they are. I mean, shout out to whoever's doing this. I don't know you personally, but hey, awesome on you. I mean,
It's a great
I
event.
can understand how much work that takes, and I definitely appreciate it. So it's great to see the community come together and
Yes.
put on such a show for everybody else, and realistically, just for the community to enjoy it as a whole. So
Yes.
Wes, that's what it's
it.
all about: bringing people together.
Yeah, I knew you were going to like that. I was so
Yeah.
excited when you were telling me you're going. That's great.
And it's fun. I'm a people watcher, so it was
Yeah.
great.
So, talking about somebody else who's trying to bring the community together, Brenda Stevens just announced her candidacy for the superintendent position. So, around here, and it matters a lot to me because I got little kids in school, but all of the schools are county schools, right? So,
Yes.
unless they're a private or whatever, but any of the public schools are going to be county schools. And so the superintendent position is a big one. So Karen
is.
Barber is the current superintendent. She's running for re-election. But she now has a challenger in Brenda. And I got a chance to meet Brenda actually at a Republican meeting a few days ago. Got a chance to talk to her. So I think this is going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. It's, Dr. Barber was probably hoping to just kind of like walk into this one. But now that she has a challenger, she's definitely going to have to put up all of her signs and advertise and campaign and stuff. And we'll see what Brenda's vision is for the future.
Competition brings out the best in everybody, right?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I love about this area is
Yeah.
just how good the school system is. I tell the principal at our elementary school that he runs the best elementary school in the nation, and I believe that because it's just you can't ask for any more. They care about the kids. They have the supplies that they need for the most part to get their stuff done. Just the reports I get from the teachers, and then getting a chance to be a part of events with the school system, and they do reading under the stars, and you get to read your kid little.
God
books
bless our
and
school
stuff.
teachers. I just can't imagine, honestly, especially elementary. I mean,
Yeah.
middle and then high school. I coached
hard work.
I coached football at the high school level. We'll start off in Pop Warner, always
Yeah.
from the little guys, but all the way up through high school. And our teachers do not get the recognition that they deserve. That is for sure. To have the patience, the understanding, and then just the dedication to
Yeah.
spend so much time with our children. Thankfully, mine are grown now out of school, but it's a lot of work, and I don't think they get the recognition that they deserve. So having competition at the highest level for our school system is a
Yeah.
good thing in the county. So
Absolutely.
hopefully people stay involved, understand who's running, what they're running for, their platforms, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to follow. And then I mentioned when we first started that having the person that's leading the news in the studio is always a blessing. And that's you. I was looking through Navarre Press every time before we do these shows just to see what Sandy Kemp and all them are talking about. And lo and behold, there he is. Like, who's that guy right there? When was that picture taken? Was that recent?
That was last week. It was a little chilly.
Yeah, I bet you had the jacket on and everything. But so it's talking about a local vet organizing a community cleanup day, and that's awesome that Navarre Press is showing some love and putting the shout out there and letting people know about.
Thank you,
this.
Navarre Press.
Yeah, that's
you guys
very
are
cool.
awesome.
Very cool. So we're going to be talking about this event today, but I want to get Joe's entire vision for what he's doing, what brought you here. We're going to talk about the, as I mentioned, the Facebook page that you've set up and how that's a big part of this. So I can't wait, but that's awesome to see that. So let's talk about some of these events. So there's a lot going on. So we had the Mardi Gras thing. This is one. Being relatively new to the area, I'm excited to tell you about this because my wife is running it. It's called Night to Shine. It's over at our church, Community Life Church in Gulf Breeze, Midway area. And what we do is we put on a prom event for the special needs community. It's inspired by Tim Tebow and his foundation that he set up. And so what they're going to have tomorrow night is there's going to be a bunch of us in service dress who escort folks down. Yep, they escort folks down this little walkway where they have a bunch of high school students and folks cheering for them. They read off their names, and then they basically get individual attention for the entire night. Just have a great time, whether that's dancing or whether that's kind of getting some food or, if they want to be alone and just kind of, sit there and take it all in, they can do that. And then there's all kinds of people there to help them to make sure that it's safe and secure. I mean, it's fun. It's one of those special, Santa Rosa County, events, much like Mardi Gras, that brings people together, and it's sweet and special. So
that
pretty cool, huh?
That in itself is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My wife has spent most of her adult life working with children with special needs. Her brothers and my brother-in-law, autistic and Down syndrome, and so it's near and dear to us. It's God bless y'all. That's amazing. If you don't know about it, I didn't know about it until tonight. Yeah. Definitely will be involved next year for this next time. That's a big deal. And I think it cannot be overstated how much it matters to the kids that get to take part in that.
Yeah, my wife does a lot of behind the scenes work and working with the team, and she's like, as soon as we turn registration on, everybody fills up, right? Because they're looking forward to it every single year, and it's a lot of work. It really is, because I've been what they call a buddy. That's like the escort, person for each. You take them down the aisle, but then you kind of follow them around the whole night, make sure they're having a good time. And everybody's different, and like somebody's version of good time is different than another's, but they train you for that. They do a background
100%.
check and stuff. And so, you just kind of be patient, have a great time. And by the end of it, people are just, they're over the moon with how much fun it is every year. So can't wait to be part of that tomorrow. And I'll show you some pictures on my Facebook for that. You can share on your page. For Preserve Navarre itself, we love doing events. We've done social since we first started, but we're kicking some of these back off because it has been a few months since we've done one. We've got a wine and cheese tasting. This was Nancy's idea, and then Chuck and Jersey, all these folks. They were all in on this. So this is going to be next Tuesday from 6 to 8 is when we're going to have this. So come by the Best Western. It's free. We're not charging anything. Come by. We're going to have a bunch of different types of wine on there. Nancy's watching the show. You could tell us kind of what to expect if you want, and I'll throw it up. But I know we're going to have some wine. We're going to have some snacks, some cheese, some food, and really it's just a chance to get together and hang out. And we're going to do some door prizes and gift baskets. That's going to be great. Just a chance to get to know us better. And kind of, if you got feedback for anything that we're doing for the show, for any other events, by all means, come by, and just spend some time hanging out. We look forward to doing these at least once a month. It's
next Tuesday, 6 to 8.
From 6 to 8, over at the Best Western on 98. So they gave us some space for that, which is awesome. And then hopefully we're going to have some live music, I think, which is going to be great. And then just a chance to chill out and have a good time. So especially before Valentine's Day. And if you win something, that might take care of Valentine's Day right there. You got something to...
I got to pick up my wife. Funny story about wine. I am not a wine drinker. And the first time that I actually drank wine, we lived in Maryland off the Chesapeake Bay. Yeah. And we were walking distance to a wine bar, if you will. Yeah. And also a distributor. So they had a wine tasting. Yeah. And I was like, all right, let's go down for the wine tasting thing. So go around drinking all the different kind of wines, and woo, man, wow. All right, so get home after whatever amount of time, it was a couple hours, made it home, and I go in the bathroom. I had no idea, right? Because
wine will hit you. It'll hit you.
It wasn't even that. So I mean, it was a great time. Everybody had a lot of fun. But I go in the bathroom and I smile, And my
they get
my
the
whole
red.
grill, everything was just red. And so I go in there and I tell my wife, and I'm like, babe, and I'm like, did you
Get like
not
brush your
see my
teeth, yeah.
mouth? And she just starts laughing. So the walk of shame next time we went to the wine place.
You can switch to white. That's what that is.
Yeah. So if you're drinking red wine next week, be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
And if you need a ride home, we can figure that
Yeah.
one out too, because
Yeah.
why it will. It's deceptive, especially when you're,
100%.
Yeah, having it with dinner and everything else. But yeah, like whether you drink wine or not, like it's more just a time to get around, hang out, and have some fun and
Get
kick
together
back.
and have a good time.
Yeah. So next Tuesday we got that one, and then we got the big one, right? This Saturday we're gonna have the trash cleanup. So kind of give us we're gonna go into a lot of detail on this, but give us kind of the lowdown of when's it happen, what to expect. Just kind of the quick version, then we'll go through more.
Yeah, 30,000 foot view. So this Saturday, meet at the Navarre Visitor Center if you want to volunteer for the trash cleanup. That's at 10:30. Be there. We will basically go through a little welcome, have some snacks and some coffee there for folks who want to volunteer, and then we'll push out. We have transportation to disperse throughout Navarre proper, if you will, off of 98. If we have a lot of folks,
I think we will.
we'll try and go up. It's scalable, so we'll go up 87. But we've mapped out pretty much some standard locations that we can get the bus in and out.
I love it.
And keep it safe. We'll have a deputy on scene with us to help with safety and traffic. So. Expect a really good turnout. There is a small chance of rain.
Yeah,
It's
I've
Florida.
got the weather here. Let me see.
Yeah. Checked it earlier. I think it's like 35, 25%.
Yeah.
It depends on where you go. National Weather Service, they're going to do 50% because they never want to be right or wrong, right?
Bring like a light rain jacket. Is what I'm reading.
Just in case. I think God's going to be good to us. I think we'll be all
Mark's
right.
going to try to make it. It sounds like. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love this, man. Let me go back to the banner here, and we're going to go through this thing, like I said, in detail. But I love the inspiration for this. I've done the trash cleanup on the beach several times, and the amount of stuff you find, you're like, wow. It's like, and then at the end of it, what they do is they weigh the bags, and so you realize, oh man, I picked up 60 pounds worth of stuff, like, and the beach is that much cleaner, and it gives you a sense of pride, like, hey, this place is clean because of the work that we did, as a team. So
and
love it.
Strategically placed after Mardi Gras, the
Good point.
Navarre Beach Sea Turtle Conservation folks, they'll be, or the center over there, they'll be on the beach side, cleaning up on that side, and then we'll hit the 98. But the idea is spring cleanup, pre-spring if you want. Let's start the new year off.
Yeah.
Clean town, go in, get ready for the craziness that'll come up in March, March Madness, and I'm not talking about basketball.
Yeah.
But spring break's right around the corner, and things are just going to steamroll, and it's going to get busy and wild around here. So this is really an event in my mind to bring the community together, and locals be locals and do local things and take care of our community and give back.
So clearly you have a passion for Navarre, for the local culture, for all of that. So I do this every time, and it's my favorite part of every show. I love kind of getting into a person's background and their individual perspective and their motivations. And like even people I've known for years, Joe, it's just like, wow, I didn't know that about a person. It's amazing when you focus on kind of that, and you can see how it links to a lot of what they're doing. So I'm looking forward to this. So I always ask them, and anybody who comes on the show, ask them, send me a couple of pictures and things like that, as far back as you want to go. And I believe this is the oldest one I could find. Who's that skinny guy there on the left?
Yeah.
Little gangly guy.
Yeah, man. He was out doing some fishing.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's great. So who are these folks you're with?
My brother's there in the middle, and that's my dad off to the other side. And that was growing up in North Carolina, we'd go out to the Outer Banks.
Yeah, I've been there before. Yeah,
absolutely. Some of the best surf fishing in the world, just based on where the jet stream comes up through there and off the coastline. And absolutely just, it's the fishing there is insane. But it's pretty good here too. So.
It is. I was going to say, so beach life has clearly always been ingrained deeply into what you're doing. But I used to live in Virginia. I was stationed out there for 3 years. That water is not as warm as Navarre's water. Yeah,
or as beautiful. Or as beautiful. No,
that's true.
Not at all.
I agree with you.
The beaches are totally different. Different atmosphere. And shout out to Oakley. What was that? My old Oakley 1980s jacket.
That's awesome.
Hey, that was a big deal back then, though, man. You were cool. You weren't cool if you didn't have one of them.
That's right. And the glasses and everything.
Oh goodness.
Okay, now. So we're talking about cold. What's this white stuff, and what's that in the background? What is this?
probably some of the best fun I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Honestly, a long time ago, I went up to Alaska to go on vacation and do a little skiing. My brother was stationed in the military up there, and it was I'll never forget, February 3rd.
Yeah.
So middle of winter in Alaska, right? My brother's like, "Hey man, you love skiing? Come up
Yeah.
here and see me and hang out for a little bit. We'll go skiing." And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, at the time, coming from a construction background, you know,
Yeah.
it's a slow season, so I had a little white space on the calendar and flew up to Alaska. And I literally on the drive to my brother's house, I was like, "This is just, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing." And then.
Even in a T-shirt.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's
just
like-
100%.
It's pretty cool just looking at it.
Yeah. I mean,
It
being in the
is
back
beautiful.
country, God and country and yourself. I mean, literally have been to the top of some of the highest mountains, not Denali, but
Yeah.
you know, absolutely just. I mean, it's like living in National Geographic. It
Yeah.
really is,
Yeah.
and pictures will never do it justice.
No, they will.
Absolutely will not.
Dude, yeah, I totally get that. So I'm a Southern boy. I was raised in Tennessee, right? But not the mountains, the flat, you know,
Yeah,
Memphis, the west side of the state, and then spent time down here in Alabama. So to me, a mountain was actually probably more like a hill, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until I deployed and went to Afghanistan that I actually knew what it was like to live in the mountains. So I was at Bagram, and then seeing the Hindu Kush Mountains and everything else. Like, as dangerous as it was out there, as difficult as the job was, every now and then I'd take a moment and be like, oh, I can understand why people enjoy this. Like, it was just gorgeous, you know, and then flying through those, the mountains and stuff and seeing that. That was my first taste of it. And then since then, traveled to places like Utah, and I'm starting to get this. Like, it really is. It's a whole different type of beautiful. I totally understand.
And the crazy thing about it is, you know, the people here in Navarre remind me a lot of the people in Alaska.
Really?
And I was in Alaska for a decade, and Alaska literally, you know, and not to overstate this, but you know, quite honestly, I mean, you could die going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, extreme weather conditions, extreme cold.
Okay.
You know, if you live in the backcountry, you know, you have quite a ways to go. So everybody takes care of each other.
Yeah.
Everybody looks out for each other. If you see a vehicle on the side of the road, you're stopping.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no such thing as like going by and being like, yeah, whatever, they'll figure it out.
Right.
You know, AAA's not coming to save you.
So, like Alaska, we too are in danger. Like,
Well, and the same thing.
We're talking about 98?
Yeah, definitely 98. Oh, goodness. Hey, how much time we got? Can we talk about 98?
I've broken down on that road at least 3 times since I moved here. And you're right. People stop and they're like, can I help you change your flat tire and stuff and all that?
Yeah, and it's good to see. So, I mean, it definitely, you can tell there's a sense of, you know, community here where people care, literally care, not just like, oh, let me do it so I can, you know, you often see a lot online, right? Social media. You know, they do good things, but there's, you know, they're posting a video of it and they got their friend. I mean,
I've always said Navarre is very different than the online version. Like, you know, it's there. If you just think Navarre is the online version, then who knows, like what you're going to think. But it's the people that you interact with. You go to Pickett's Outdoor Market, or you talk to people at the grocery store.
Good, honest people that care for each other.
One of the things I meant to ask you, so Hurricane Sally, where were you?
I was not here.
You're not here. When Hurricane Sally happened, you saw that more than I've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
Is Hurricane Sally just devastated parts of Gulf Breeze and even parts of Navarre, especially High by the Sea. Everybody I knew was out there working on roofs and like hammering away and replacing shingles and all that stuff. So you're more right than you know. And that really is, when this community is in danger, when there's something going wrong, people do. They stick up for each other. So absolutely, man. That's really cool.
And you know, and that point's not lost on me. It's, you know, we have to be, right? We don't really have much of an option, right? I mean, at the end of the day, when things hit the fan, PG-13.
Thank you for that.
I mean,
not to get shit.
Yeah, we're really, you know, we're going to really step up, and everybody's going to be there, regardless of what we think or, you know, our difference in views and opinions. And that's what I love about this. Is you know, the sense of, you know, that's what makes a home.
Exactly.
It's really people.
Well said, man. So then there's something else that we have in common, and I love these pictures for many reasons. But for those who don't, that's you in the middle there. Like, why are these grown men punching you? Like, aren't you on the same team? What's going on there?
No, that was back in the good old days.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a boomer now. I mean, for real. So that was promotion ceremony. I was getting promoted at the time, and worked up in Alaska Command for NORAD. And that was our operations floor. We had our our big polar bear there. So our
Yeah, when you
mascot.
promote, right?
Yeah,
Like
that was a
yeah.
big day. That's
That's awesome,
That was an
man.
awesome day. And then the picture above is actually a
Yeah.
really cool operation that we were running. We were doing a simulated Homeland Defense mission where
Okay.
we were recreating a 9/11 event, if you will. I
Yeah.
was in a tanker down there with a boom operator,
Okay.
taking these pictures. And as we flew out to the Lucian chain where we were going to intercept
Yeah.
an airliner, we had to refuel the fighters on the way out. So just really cool to sitting down there and
Yeah,
actually
seeing it
getting
come
the-
up like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and if you zoom in, you can see the background. It's you get to
Beautiful.
see parts of Alaska from the air that you'll never see from the ground. And if you ever get a chance to go and have an opportunity to get up in the air, definitely do it.
That's so cool, man. That's
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, the uniform thing got me too, because a lot of the folks that I work with, they've never seen those uniforms.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, is that from Vietnam?
Did you get that at the Army surplus store?
So I
Yeah.
used to have that uniform. Real quick, I updated it for you. There we go. There's a more up to
Yeah.
date picture.
That was the almost newest one.
Almost it. That's the
Yeah.
other one that people probably have seen. But this uniform, like, it was a lot more work. You had to iron it, or like get it
Yes.
dry cleaned. I see. Like, I've been around for a minute too. I remember I was an ROTC cadet and I had to wear that uniform. We had to shine the shoes and stuff, and
I still have them in my closet, and
now
could
you just
probably-
throw it in the dryer and you're done.
You probably see yourself in my boots. And the crazy thing is, I mean,
believe
those uniforms would stand up by themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Quite honestly, I'll show my age. I miss that. There was, a lot of character in those uniforms, and and absent of sounding like a boomer, I'll shut up on that.
No,
But,
it's okay. And like the positions that you've held, I mean, the NCOs and especially the senior NCOs, I mean, they are the backbone of the military, of the Air Force, right? Those are the people that make or break. I've got a friend of mine going out, the door, and got to have a good senior enlisted leader. If you've got that, you're going to have it, and he does, right? So it's those people that make or break
Yeah,
an
and those-
entire mission.
Those
right?
two gentlemen in that picture are absolutely some of the most awesome guys I ever served
Yeah.
with. One's retired chief, and the other one has been retired as well, and they're the guys that you aspire to be. That
Yeah.
over time, you hope to become.
Yeah.
And then when you look back, you kind of ask yourself, like, man, I hope I actually made it there. Was I that inspirational? Was I
Right.
able to recreate what they were able
Yeah.
to bring into these squadrons and motivate people? And
I love that, dude.
it is, it's definitely, it's a waterfall effect, right? It cascades down. And so we hope that, folks out there continue that.
Absolutely. So, okay, we showed this picture. Let me show you. We can't forget about family. So we've talked about work. We've talked about your love for community. Talked about a lot of those things. Talk to me about family and how does that fit into the equation? We've moved a lot. The military thing, and then coming here. So talk to me about that. When did you meet your wife, and how did she make that choice and go on this long journey with you?
No, I bribed her. We met in a bar. No.
Good answer.
Yeah. No, we actually met in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy story. I was skipping class.
Yeah.
Unofficially, I was going to the cafeteria to get a snack.
Was this North Carolina?
Yeah.
Or- okay. All right.
And I was in high school, and she'd actually moved from Colorado.
Okay.
And was walking in to go and register for the school.
Okay.
So I kind of intercepted her down the hallway.
Yeah.
And I just told her, I said, hey, smile. It's not that bad. She looked all sad.
Uh-huh,
I mean,
yeah.
going to school, who knows, right? But, she become best friends with my sister, and it's just part of the family. And over the years, the crazy part of the story is, we never really had, a dating relationship. And it was only after many years later that we reconnected and married. So
She's like, you're that cheerful guy that made me smile that one
yeah,
day.
she's seen all the other guys out there and was like, that's not good enough. I got, no, not at all. I think it's probably the opposite way around, but yeah, and we just decided, we were going to get married, and it has been quite an adventure.
Yeah.
She unfortunately moved up to Alaska when I was stationed up there, and God bless her, broke her ankle because of the snow and the ice, and so she's not a fan of Alaska.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which is unfortunate because I love it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
How does she like it down here in Florida?
Absolutely loves it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right. So you found a spot. That's what worked for me too. So my wife also came from the cold north. For her, it was from New Hampshire, right? So she's
Way colder.
Yeah. So she loves the snow and everything else. And so we met in the Air Force. We met in Texas. It was our first. That was our tech school where we met. And then I was like, how do I sweeten the deal? Because
Yeah.
she had talked about at one point moving back up there, and we're going to spend time up there. And I was like, I'm here for it. But secretly, I wanted to come back to the South, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
where I'm from. And so I took her down. First, I took her to places like Memphis and Montgomery, Alabama. And it was okay. And then I brought her here. And I totally, like, downplayed it. I was just like, we should drive through Florida for a day. Just check it out. Like, I used to go down here for vacation. She's like, oh, okay. And then we come across that bridge, right? Like, into Navarre. And she's like, what place is this? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's just Navarre. Yeah. People live here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you don't want to
Rest
live
is
here.
history.
Yeah.
Rest is history. So
no, and that's the crazy thing about how we found Navarre.
Yeah.
Over a decade ago, is we drove to Alcan. We drove out of Alaska.
Okay.
I basically picked up. I was a new assignment down at Tyndall, working for Continental NORAD.
Okay.
I was their head standards and evaluations guy.
Yeah.
And IG inspector. It was a great assignment, but so we drove the Alcan all the way through, pretty much all of North America.
Wow.
And after
That's
12
amazing.
days of travel, and we stopped in Colorado, see some friends and stuff.
That's crazy.
But we hit I-10 and
Yep.
got off I-10 to take 98 because I was like, we left Alaska, it snowed.
Okay.
All the way until we got to Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
Every day, the whole drive. And finally, once we got to the beach, which was, right there off I-10, I said, we're going to do 98 the scenic route.
Smart man.
On the way to town. And and this is back when you didn't have your smartphones, you didn't have, your GPS on your on your car or your truck. So we had the old Garmin stuck up on the window.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And you had to manually input the maps and upload them into a
Especially
car.
to take a ferry or random places,
And I'll never forget. So we come through here,
routing,
and we see the Emerald Coast for the first time, and I had no idea, and absolutely just fell in love. And the most disheartening thing ever is as we pulled up towards Herbie.
Yeah.
I was like, this is it. This is Tyndall. And I had no idea. Yeah. And then the GPS was like,
keep going.
Keep going.
Another
and it
hour
was
and
like,
a half, 2
oh,
hours.
man. Then we got to Tyndall and not knocking Tyndall at all. God bless. I love Panama City. But it's not here.
It's not Navarre. It's not Navarre.
Yeah.
I love that, dude. I love how you played it. And I love how you played this with the carriage ride. In fact, I love it so much that it reminds me of how I played it. I did the same thing when I proposed to my wife.
Yeah, my wife absolutely thought I was a bridezilla. It was because I was like, we're doing the carriage thing, and she was like, we don't need that. It's over. I was like, we're doing a carriage. It's not about what you want. It's about what I want. We're doing a carriage.
See, that part was different.
Yeah.
She was all about it. I was like, all right, this is fun. She's like, no, let's go again. She wanted to keep going.
I just thought it was perfect. We actually got married in a state park.
Okay.
Back home in an old church with no AC, no heat.
Nice.
And it's hopefully it will forever be enshrined there in the state park. And God bless it. It just ended up being the perfect weather that day. I didn't really think that part through. We did the dress rehearsal 2 days prior, and it was 95 degrees, 100% humidity. And I was like, oh man, everyone's gonna kill us. What were we thinking? But no, it turned out great. It was an awesome time. And then of course, that picture is actually awesome. We have that blown up and it's on the wall. It's such a great
beautiful,
picture.
Man.
So I appreciate it.
No, you've done it right. So we got the elements, right? We got your passion for the community. We got the family thing, the service to the country. So then you take this step. You're here in Navarre. What leads you to do this? What leads you to set up? Because if folks don't know the online environment, not everybody does. Not everybody's on Facebook and stuff. I probably spend too much time on there myself. But there's only a handful of pages that really command a big audience. There's the Concerned Citizen of Navarre page, which I think there's 2 of them or 3 of them or whatever. There's an exile page and a B version, whatever. And then there's a handful of Santa Rosa County pages. But then here comes relatively recently, right? The
Last
Navarre
July.
Citizens page, and then boom, skyrockets up to 5.2 thousand members. So what was the inspiration for this? How did you get to this point where you're like, hey, I need to put the work in to set up a
Yeah, I ask myself that sometimes too. Why? No, so it really is about bringing the community together, and quite honestly, to peel back the veil a little bit. Yeah. Not to great community groups out there on Facebook.
Yeah.
And being new to the community, I was going in, getting involved, and then over time you can just kind of see the dialogue and how it goes back and forth, and then people would say things, and then those things would disappear, or people would say things that it would be totally shouted down, and I am a proponent of free speech, 100%, good, right, wrong, or indifferent. And so I was like, you know what? After watching it and just going, the appearance, which perspective, matters. My perspective at the time was like, okay, I want a place where people can be themselves, and whether or not people agree, that's a whole separate issue. But a place where people can be themselves. And here's the thing, and even such a multi-layered thing, right? When you talk about social media, I'm gonna get a little in depth on this.
A little
philosophical. So let's think about this, right? Social media in itself is like the most anti-social thing ever, which is really sad.
Totally agree. Yeah.
And it goes all the way back to, like, think about like AOL when, like, all right, some of you guys know, some of y'all don't. Back in the day when we had to get on the internet, it was like you hit a button and you waited like 5 minutes. And if you didn't have internet, you waited for these little discs to come in the mail. It would get you access. And so AOL had these chat rooms, and I'll never forget this. And that was basically like those AOL chat rooms were like the first iteration of social media platforms like Facebook, MySpace. It all evolved from the AOL chat rooms, right?
Yes,
a place to bring people together. But more importantly, if you go back and remember, if you were a part of this during that time, one of the things that I would never forget is people literally would form just made up identities.
Yes.
Even then. And there was a couple people that over time that I'd come to know on a personal level, and finally, like, picked up the phone and was like, build up a trust network and was like, let's talk. Yeah. And you start to learn that, like, this person is nothing like, what they project online. And so let's look at, how that has evolved over time. So social media, we have taken this internet, the greatest invention that has transcended, or transformed the world on levels that never thought possible. I mean, honestly, people made fun of it, back in back in the day. Like, what's this internet thing? What is this going to do? And over time, it has evolved where social media was designed to unite us, and it has, in a sense that you can immediately get a message out. Right. Look at Twitter, now X, right? I mean, you can have access to people and places and things that, information, like if you have a question, you just, back in the day, it was like I had to grab an encyclopedia. Yeah. Now it's like just grab the Oracle, Google. Right. Yeah. And
Wikipedia,
ask.
Whatever. Right.
But over time, that has turned into, social media has really turned into this almost dark, negative thing where basically people have been shunned, they have been canceled, they have been censored, and it's really unfortunate. We've seen it over the last several years where social media was used to silence people on a level never before seen in America. Yeah. And not to get too into the weeds, but I'll say this. Whether you agree with it or not is fact now. There was a lot of things that were put out on social media during COVID. Yeah. They locked basically locked us up in our homes, told you couldn't go to work. So, keep a mask on your face. They take away your identity. If you don't get the jab, you're killing your neighbors. I mean, they terrified everybody, and they used social media to do this, and then stripped our identity, told us that the government's going to take care of us, and then, hey, your kid can't go to school, but we got you, and don't worry, everything's safe. Yeah. Go get this. Yeah. And now we're finding out that a lot of the information that was either disseminated by those in the positions of authority or censored and not allowed out into the open space were either wrong, non-factual, or on the counter side of it, now we find out that, no, actually, they follow the science. Now the science says there's some really bad things, and that was perpetrated against the people.
You're hitting on a lot of stuff. There's a lot to take from that. The biggest one to start with, I think, is just the degradation of people's social skills and their sense of friendship and community with their fellow person, right? With their fellow man, right?
100%.
Like it is such a problem because for me, going through the past few years, it was difficult. It was annoying. The mask thing, I couldn't stand it. The whole deal, but like I survived. I made it through. I caught COVID a few times. Like it was down for a few weeks.
So
But what if I had been in middle school or high school, right? And it fundamentally just disrupts my entire progression.
Yeah.
One of the most important parts of my life. And I try to tell myself that because with a lot of the Gen Zers that I work with, I have to be more patient with them because it's like their social skills and stuff like that, they lost 2, 3, 4 years, 100%. Especially if they were in states further north. You know what I'm talking about? Like they lost that time to develop. And so for them, just getting them together to play like, I don't know, Frisbee football or like doing some type of group leadership activity is this like concept that they missed out on.
So
years. I was raising that when I was a little kid. That's all we did was go out and play football or basketball or whatever, And
so social media has done that into a point where interpersonal relationships have been put on the wayside, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying too.
And I look at I look at social media kind of like the fabric of society. And what I mean by that, it's like societal DNA.
Yeah.
And to break that down, so if you think about how many, parts of DNA there are in a human body, it's something crazy like 3 billion plus.
Yeah.
Okay. Check this out. This is going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
In human DNA, there's over 20,000. Now, all you microbiologists out there, look it up.
I'm just trying to follow what you're saying. Like I'm trying.
Make sure I'm right. I'm right. But there's over 20,000 parts of human DNA.
Yeah.
It's not even human.
Okay.
Think about that. That's pretty crazy.
I've heard this before.
All right. Now that's just one 2 strands DNA in a human cell, over 3 billion parts, and then there's trillions of human cells.
Yeah.
So if social media is much the same, if scientists were to only focus on those 20 parts of human DNA, they would never conclude that it's even human.
Okay.
And social media is much the same, right? It goes back to people can form whatever identities they want. Now, good, right, wrong, or indifferent, what I mean by that is what people project on social media usually is not the whole story. It's just a very small part of who that individual really is. And a lot of times we've seen it over and over that people will say something on social media, somebody's perspective based on their own worldview will look at it, they'll read it through their own lens, right? The way that they perceive things to be.
Sure.
And they'll either take offense to it or they'll support it.
Yeah.
And if they take offense to it, it's like, bam, I got emotion. I got to respond. I'm going to say something, and I'm putting it out there right now.
Yeah.
And they kind of, they kind of fall on the sword, right? You're like, hey, I'm going to defend my position.
Yeah.
But the position really, and that's the fallacy in social media, is it's not based on an interpersonal relationship. It's really based on that individual's own perspective of how they perceive things to be, which is in truth probably not reality because they only have that one little snippet.
So then why contribute to it? Why build a page like this? Or do you feel like you're changing it?
So 100% great question. Because this is just the first part, right?
Okay.
So it's almost like, you got to make a deal with the devil sometimes. And this is it, right? Social media, everybody's in it. Everybody's got a smartphone. They're on it all the time. They're using it.
Yeah.
So we kind of in my mind, we take this and we go, all right, how can we make this constructive? How can we make this a positive thing? And how can we flip it, and
humanizing the technology.
Yeah, it's cyclical, right? So now people start to understand, like, hey, maybe I do need to work on my interpersonal relationships. And so this is a springboard in my mind that we can actually bring the community together.
That's cool.
NCP, Navarre Citizens page, is literally a place where everybody can be themselves, good, right, wrong, or indifferent. Yeah. And you've seen it. Everybody gets to speak their mind.
Right.
And not people come at me. And it's it's fine.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, and it's okay. And people so suspect about certain things, or why are you doing this, or why are you doing that? And I have so many people that will report post.
Yeah.
Because they don't agree with it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, to everybody listening, I'm not deleting somebody's post. That's their post. It's not mine. Free speech lives there, right? So
imagine that.
and that's really it.
Yeah.
But the second iteration of it is okay. So the page is just to get people.
Yeah.
In a centric place that we can, formulate ideas and conversations and bring people together. Now, what do we do with it, right? How do we make it positive? How do we impact the community in a positive way? Yeah. And that's really what this weekend is about. That's why
awesome. That's
why we're getting together and to get back to the community, right? Yeah. To kind of take this thing that has really manipulated society and people and the ideas. I mean, it's You know, Theodore Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Oh no, you probably have heard this. You know, he has a the speech,
Yeah.
"Man in the Arena."
Yeah.
All right?
I have. Yeah.
It is not the critic who counts, right? Criticism is so easy, and it's such human nature. There's nothing wrong with it because it's so easy to criticize. I
Yeah.
mean, if we focused on everything that we as a society,
Yeah.
and which has been done for the last several years,
Yeah.
on what we don't have in common, which is the easiest things to find, right? We can just look at somebody and be like, "Yeah, that's not me. I don't," you know.
Yeah.
And we make these preconceived notions about who they are,
Right.
about what they post online or how we perceive things. And if we only focused on that, then we never really gain much from it. But, you know, if we actually look beyond the surface and go deeper and actually try to form a relationship with people,
Yeah.
you know, that's when you really, you know, you find the good in everybody. And I've always been that type of person. I look in the good in everybody. I believe everybody has a place in this world.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what you believe in, or how you were raised. We all play a role in this thing called life.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important. You know, criticism is good if it's constructive. Criticism for the sake of just criticizing and demeaning,
Or with ulterior motives. Yeah.
well, it's very dangerous, right? Because that is actually what destroys a society, and not society in whole, but new ideas.
Yeah.
And ideas are important. Like, think of this. This is crazy. So Einstein, when he came out with the theory of relativity,
Yeah.
over 100 scientists, like at the time, some of the best scientists in the world got together and they wrote a journal and they named it like 100 reasons, you know, Einstein's theory of relativity is, you know, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know if that's the actual name, but, you know, why he's wrong.
Yeah.
And these are 100 scientists, right? You know, they're the smartest and Einstein's crazy.
Yeah.
And his rebuttal to it was, well, if I'm wrong, why'd you need 100? You don't need one. You know, so, but think about it, you know, the cancel culture, even all the way back then,
Yeah.
come after Einstein.
Yeah.
And if they can do it now and we allow it to progress and to grow and to become more than what it is even today, then we're going to regress as a society.
Yeah.
And we really need to learn how to start looking beyond the surface and start lifting each other up,
Yeah.
support each other.
Yeah.
Even different ideas are great.
Right.
Some of the best leaders, the best generals that I've worked with,
Yeah.
the best ones, do not surround themselves with yes people.
Right.
They have people in the room,
Yeah.
and they want people in the room that have different ideas and different opinions.
Right.
And the reason being is if you don't know your blind spots, that they call them, if you don't know where your pitfalls are, if you don't know where you can improve, or if you're unwilling to accept that you have ways to improve,
Yeah.
well, you're never gonna improve.
Right.
There will be no progress.
Right.
You're going to be the same. And some people, unfortunately, are extremely fair. Like, they like that.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm good.
I'm gonna have to have you back on the show, and we just talk about like the social dilemma. I don't know if
Oh,
you've seen that, but
yeah.
because so much of what you're hitting on is the echo chamber culture of like,
Yeah, it's
and
dangerous.
social media has gone that way. It used to be everyone saw the same thing, but now you go into whatever program, whatever computer app that you have or phone app, and you get on social media, it's going to follow what you like. And then it's going to spit back stuff that
Algorithms.
it knows you're going to click on, as opposed to challenge you with alternative views. And then when people finally hear alternative views, it's like shocking to them. So I love what you're doing, man. And clearly there's success at it, because you talked about the difference between a social, you know, media handle or username or whatever and real people. I wanted to show you this. That took a couple of minutes. And this is what 5,000 people looks like, right? Like this is the amount of people that have liked or followed your Facebook.
That's how many
page.
people I want there Saturday.
Isn't that great? We'll see.
I know everybody can't show up. It's okay.
We have highway when
Yeah.
we're done. But that's how many folks are actually behind it. Now, you may not see that many folks, you know, comment or like on a page because, again, it's
Algorithms and
oversaturated. But
Yeah.
getting those people out from behind the computer, come out to an event, whether that's, you know, the trash cleanup that you're doing, whether that's a wine tasting, like whatever it is, come out and be part of the community. I love that, man. So that gives me a lot of the vision. You mentioned free speech, and you know, this is again, and we could do a whole nother show on this as well. But I also wanted to commend you for how you're handling that, because you know, you want to create a place where people can come and speak their mind.
Yes.
But then, of course, there's these bots and fake profiles that are coming in. I can't tell you how many duck cleaning posts I've had to like block from Preserve Navarre's page because I'm like, is this an actual local business or is this just a random person from China?
No,
Like,
Navarre has
I don't
Navarre
know.
has to have the cleanest HVAC systems in all of Florida. I'm telling you, I've never.
Why do I have 10
I
of
mean,
these posts before 6 a.m.? You know, like,
You know, sometimes I question, like, man, like, should I open up an HVAC, business and clean some duct? The best ones are like chimney sweepers. I'm like, I didn't realize we had that many chimneys in Navarre. We building all the developers, y'all building all the new houses with chimneys now? I mean,
'cause that's the thing. It's free
Think about
speech for, in your case, Navarre locals, but it's free
Yeah.
speech for actual people
Yeah.
who have, you know, a Facebook account.
Yeah.
It is not free speech for like Joe Russian, right? Like, or
Yeah.
whatever, or somebody from freaking like whatever country that is like jumping in here on the Navarre citizens page who's not a citizen and is just trying to like stir up.
yeah,
stuff.
100%.
So,
And
like,
you know, and it takes a lot of work, and we're doing a good job of trying. You know, and this year we're more focused. So you know, quality over quantity, right?
yeah.
You know, if we had 20,000 people on the page, and I'm not trying to, you know, speak ill of any of the other pages, but if we have 20,000 people on Navarre Citizens page and 15,000 don't live in Navarre,
Yeah.
then it's not Navarre Citizens page because the page was made and 100% for the people of Navarre. I tell them all the time, this is your page.
Yeah.
You know, if it fails, then fine. I mean,
Yeah.
what did I lose, right? You know, like, there's nothing there. It really should be the best resource for the citizens of Navarre for us to collaborate and come together and, you know, achieve whatever goals we have. You know, some are personal goals. You see businesses posting on there. That's great. Support local, love local. The idea is there's a lot of businesses. People are like, I didn't even know that was there. And
Yeah.
It's like, of course, yeah, check them out.
Some of the best ones. Yeah. You gotta
Yeah.
ask.
So, you know, I think one of the hardest things for me is, and it's not hard for me, it's hard for people to understand, I guess. You know, being fair is not easy.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people expect me to play principal or hall monitor, and I'm not doing it. You know, people are. I'm going to tell you right now, you're a grown adult.
Yeah.
And if you go on there, hey, what you post on the internet lasts forever. You know, if you go on there and you say something, be prepared to defend it. I'm not going to go in there and I'm not going to take up for their side. And it's really hard because I try my best to stay apolitical. And I'm still human. Like, I have my own geopolitical beliefs, you know, based on my worldview and how I perceive things. And I just do my best to try and be agnostic to it because it is a place for everybody to come.
It's so refreshing, man. I just can't tell you how refreshing it is because it seems like more and more our culture goes into war. It just, you know, culture war, whatever, just screaming matches, whatever you want to call it. But it's like, I'm going to get the people on my side. We're going to get all angry, and then we're going to come at your side. And you go get your people, and we're going to come at yours. It's like, at what point can we actually work on something together? At what point can we actually talk about what your assumptions are, what your reasons are, right? Like, there's less and less, like, healthy debates. Debate being, let's exchange ideas, and more just yelling at each other, right? And I so hope like that everything that you're doing continues to grow because we need that. We need places, forums where people can go and be forced to listen to somebody else. Like, you're going to talk, and then I do this with my kids all the time, right? It's like, you know, okay, you feel this way, and you know, my son feels this way, so now they got to talk to each other between son and daughter, you know, brother and sister. But like, even as an adult, we still need those reminders at times of like, stop talking for a second and listen to this completely alternative point of view. You don't have to agree with it,
And that's hard.
but maybe there's some point. It is.
That's
it's
human
hard for
nature.
adults.
Yeah, human nature. And as we evolve and grow older, you know, we become guarded to the things that matter to us the most.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, so case in point, you know, when I was stationed at Tyndall, working at the headquarters, I'm a military guy. I walk in there, and there's a bunch of civilians running the place in civilian clothes, and that was so foreign to me. and my first reaction, I'll never forget. I was like, you know, what are all these civilian guys doing in here? Like, you know, with, you know, circle of trust, guys I could trust, you know, some buddies back home and whatnot, and I could not understand because I didn't have the perspective.
Yeah.
Now, let me explain. Later, I realized that was probably a really good thing because in the military, we got one job. And I won't say it out loud, but you know, mostly it's not fun things for a lot of people. The civilians were there to keep us in the box that we belonged in. And so ultimately, from a different perspective later on in life, I just realized there was so much value in that. Not only the experience that they had, the knowledge, most of them prior military before, but the knowledge they brought to the table, and then also the ability to kind of keep us corralled, because we were all just ready to go and just do whatever was needed. So
one of the last things I was thinking about with this was people tend, I had a teacher tell me this one time from school, that people tend to judge themselves by their intentions, right? Like they're they know themselves, they know their intentions, they know why they said a thing. But then when they hear somebody else say something different, they judge them by their words only. They don't actually, know their intentions or even take the time to ask them, why did you say that? They just immediately react, especially if it's different, and they go into fight mode. I love the concept of like taking a minute and saying, why do you feel that way? Right? Like what is your motive? What, explain this comment to me. And you're so right that social media is not conducive to that type of thing. I've had so many times where I've gotten in arguments with somebody on social media. I'm like, can we just go for a beer? Like,
you can accomplish so much more over a beer.
Like, can we just talk about this? And I've had people do that. And every time, we don't always agree when we get it from that table, but at least we have some more mutual respect.
Yeah,
right?
It's so crazy. Honestly,
it's so good, man.
Some of my best friends, which is really funny, there's two guys in particular, some really, really great friends of mine. When they first met me, absolutely could not stand me.
Restarted my computer randomly, so that was fun. I think they heard you. I don't know who it was, but it's
the Chinese. They're like,
so, let me know if
cut off the connection now.
It looks like the audio is coming back through. Let me know if you're jumping back into the show. Looks like we got 4 or 5 people that have jumped back in. We're about to finish out, but yeah, you start challenging the system, Joe. This is what happens. You get the pushback. Looks like we got
eject.
That's great. All right, we're back up and running. It looks like I can see everything back there. So I did have a couple more points I wanted to ask you before we finish this out, because we talked about preserving the page and what you're doing and kind of the purity of it. Yeah. But then you mentioned a great point, which was the fact that you're trying to link this to other things. And so I'm really glad that we did the show this way, because we talked about you. We talked about, your drive and what motivates you. Then we talked about the actual Facebook page. But now it leads to this. And so people may look at a trash cleanup and they think, well, that's the garbage man's job, or that's just the trash cleaner. Why should I give up part of my Saturday just to go out there and clean up trash on 98? But I feel like you've given us something so much more and deeper than that. This is a chance for people to start to actualize what you've been talking about in terms of community and friendships and interpersonal relationships.
I appreciate that, Wes, and I really believe that, right? Like, so, picking up the trash is really just giving back to the community, but the people that participate will actually gain so much more. I mean, a chance to form new relationships and make new friends, reconnect with the old ones and old neighbors. I mean, folks move around the town. Just a chance to actually get to know other people. I'll be there. It'll be exciting, and this is just, in my mind, the first iteration of many more events to come. If it's highly successful, if we get 5 people in my mind, that's success. If we get 10, I hope, I got a feeling it's going to end up being pretty good. So,
me too.
I think this is just the beginning of what's to come, and I really believe the best is yet to come. I believe that 100%.
So how's the event go? So it's what time should we be there? What do we need to bring? Tell us all that stuff. Logistics.
Bring yourself. If you're particular and want gloves, bring gloves.
I think I will.
We'll have trash bags there. We'll have some snacks. We'll have some waters. We'll have some coffee. Meet at 10:30 at the Navarre Visitor Center there at the pavilion.
By the park. Yep.
Yes, sir. By the park. And we'll have transportation provided. Basically, throughout some strategic drop-off and pickup locations, we'll have reflective vests for everybody to wear. The county was very gracious and provided us with some vests.
I thought it was from the Air Force for a minute.
No,
sorry.
Yeah,
you bring back memories.
Bring your belts. Bring your reflective belts. I actually got some.
Shine your shoes.
But yeah, we'll have vests. And I bought a whole bunch more vests. So we should have, unless we have over 100 people, about everybody's going to have vests.
Awesome.
And if not, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, at least one person in the group have a vest.
Sure.
Safety is the number one priority. That's why the sheriff deputy will be there to help us facilitate that. But 10:30 at the Navarre Visitor Center.
Okay.
We plan to be hard done, back everybody at the park by 12:15, 12:20.
Awesome.
And, an opportunity to speak to the crowd there and everybody that showed up. And we have
Awesome.
a special guest speaker. I'm not going to say who it is, but it's special guest speaker. You got to be there to see who.
That'll be fun. And then you said there's a social after. I think I got the details.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
Andy
fun
D's.
part, right?
That's great.
Hey, like if you work hard, you should play hard. I mean, that's the way. That's the way we roll.
Yeah.
100%. Right. And good, right, wrong, or indifferent. If you can't make the cleanup, nobody's going to judge you. Nobody's going to out you and be like, you weren't picking up trash. No, we don't care. Show up to the social. That's going to be at 1 o'clock. We'll have a band. There'll be some limited drinks and food provided.
Great, man. Great.
It's going to be a good time. And the biggest thing is just, with our sponsors, got to give a big shout out before before the show is over. Thank you, Bulldog Brewing. Thank you to the Pirates on the Panhandle. Thank you to the Navarre Beach Sea Turtle Center, Emerald Coast Wildlife Refuge, and then Andy D's, of course, for hosting this. Andy is doing great things for Navarre.
These are just wonderful people. You're just listening off,
I mean, absolutely. And this, as we evolve, Navarre Bakery, I'm gonna give a shout out to them. They're gonna help provide some pastries and stuff.
Awesome.
And as we do more and more of these events, I mean, I want to see everybody involved. I want to see this actually being a biannual event, and we do this, pre-spring cleanup, and then post-Labor Day cleanup with citizen socials for the whole community to come together. And this is for the locals, by the locals, with the locals, right? Mm-hmm. So this is us, our neighbors, our friends, our families all coming together. Awesome. Probably not little kids at Andy D's. Yeah. Not that you can't come, but I'm just, know your audience,
That's great, man. I had one last story to tell you. We talked about families and how important they are. So the first time I actually had a conversation with my wife was doing a volunteer trash cleanup out in Texas, because we were in the same tech school class together. So she was the cute girl in the front row, and I was like, when am I going to get a chance to talk to her? And we did, like, as a class, we're like, hey, let's go do a trash cleanup on a highway. And she volunteered, so I was just like, yeah, I think I will too, right?
Yeah.
And then, she was cleaning up trash, talking to her friends. I kind of went over and be like, hey, how's it going, right? And that's just history, man. So, you never know what's going to happen.
I have no idea.
You can make friends for life. You could, make connections you don't expect. It's awesome.
And then everybody just, human nature, you're going to feel good after this, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, you're going to look back and you're going to inherently know you did something to help the community, and you're going to feel good about it. It's going to make you, your endorphins. You're going to have a better day. The social's going to be awesome. The band's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You got the vision, man. You've got the purpose behind it. I see how it connects to so many things in your story, and I'm just proud of you. Proud to know you, man, as somebody who's leading this community and demonstrating how we start. Social media may be a starting place, but it's what we do in reality, in real life, on the street next to our neighbors that makes a difference.
Yeah, that's
what I'm taking away from this thing, man. So thank you, Joe.
Yeah, thank you, Wes.
We got a lot more to talk about for sure. We'll see if the Chinese people or whoever was shutting down our show. Let us continue. But no, I'm so glad we got to do this and got to do the entire thing. So if you've got questions, if you got comments for Joe Cooper and the Navarre Citizens page, feel free to send them directly to him, or you can send them our way and I'll forward them to him. But highly recommend, if you're on social media, you should join his page and follow it and contribute to what he's doing. Definitely look at being there on Saturday. I don't know if you're taking donations for people that can't make it out.
No.
Okay.
This is you. Yeah, no burden on the community.
Got it.
If you want to volunteer, and that is definitely giving back enough.
So talk to him if you're looking for ways to get more involved, ways planning for the future.
Yeah, definitely for the next iterations. If you want to be a part of the next ones.
And then for us, for Preserving Navarre Live, really appreciate everybody who's helped make this show possible, the Panhandle Shop and our sponsors. Please subscribe to our page as well, because we love promoting people like Joe that are doing great work in the community. So, and then if you've got guests or folks that you'd like to see on this show, let me know. We do this every Thursday at 7. So really appreciate, once again, Joe, you being here, and everybody who chimed in. So y'all have a great night, and we will see you next Thursday.